There we go. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world of ours, and welcome to the exciting scene in Darkness in Dublin. This evening's scene is going to take place it will begin just moments after the fiasco that took place during the duel between Baron Voidfrost and the Fiona Sir Christian. Voidfrost having been left down by his troll, who had been so gently cradling him in his arms as he waded through the streaming populace who were leaving the tournament grounds in probably no too great a hurry. Voidfrost will be placed down very shakily on his feet, so he is using the troll's body to support him as his chimerical blood seeps from a deep gash that rents across his chest, making mockery of his armor. As Voidfrost spits on the ground, a long line of Russian expletives leaving his lips before he will say in Russian, "Where two stand, only one will remain. I swear enmity unto thee until the last sunrise shines and sets forever. May my heart cease to beat, may my hand lose strength, may my eyes grow forever dim, should I ever show thee favor. May the dreaming, the stars, and the bones of the earth be my witness. I will see this boy dead in the ground. I will see his sister despoiled. I will see his home razed from all creation. This filthy bitch does not dare stand before me. He stands before winter, and I swear, 'neath the dawning of a new age, I will send him no. Cut. His body racked with shaking as he is almost unable to stand. He will turn to the troll and he will say, "We're getting out of here. There'll be enough fallout from this. Now, I need a fucking drink." We will then segue very briefly. We will have a how would you refer to them? A Scooby-Doo montage until such point as we are now in a rather popular bar in Dublin city centre, simply called Over the Rainbow. I swear to God, yeah, you know what? It can be a gay bar. I don't care. But where Alexei will have been set for the last number of hours. It's popularly frequented by changelings. He'll have been set knocking back shot after shot after shot to numb the considerable agony that is his current existence. But yeah, so people may feel free to join.
We're in the Changeling Bar, right?
Yeah. Well, it's not exclusive. I thought, but.
Oh wait, it's not exclusively Changeling.
I mean, it can be exclusively Changeling. I don't mind. Let's just say it is, so we don't have to tiptoe around conversation.
Cool.
Extra, extra! Read all about it. I've never handed out a paper before, so you're just gonna have to take it.
Angela, do you have to be so loud?
Oh, sorry, my lord. Also, yes.
Rory escorts Bridget in as she can't see.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
You are probably the kindest, noblest man I have ever met at one of these events so far, is all what she whispers before asking for a shot of rum.
You don't get out much, do you?
I'm usually in my lord's dungeons. That sounded wrong. I work there, is all she says.
What's she saying?
I got that part.
She looks over at Angela and then at Rory and she goes, "Do you know her? Is she always this loud?"
Met her before.
She can't actually see even who it is, but she's looking towards the voice.
But she wrote these parchments. He reaches into his belt and pulls one out.
I hate to be a burden, but what does it say?
It's pretty long. You want me to read the whole thing?
I'll buy you a drink if you do.
Cool. Okay. He gives a dramatic performance of it, and he's pretty good.
No, Sam. You are reading it all out now. By
No.
God.
Okay. As I write this, my hands are still shaking. As I write this, I still am unable to actually hear anything. As I write this, I'm still unsure of what happened. But I am Angela Nagy, and I will bring you whatever truth I can bring you. Today was the grand melee thrown by Count Cameron ap Baelor, hosted by his vassal, Baroness Anissa Bloodmoon Nealil. And as many of you know, the grand prize for winning this melee was none other than a rather sizable fiefdom. As a result, both commoner and noble came to prove their skill at arms and win this prestigious prize. However, all this came to a halt, for reasons I will outline. After the first match concluded, and by the way, is that Puka okay? I sent him my regards and hope that he recovers well. There was information that was spread amongst the crowd. A baron was coming to compete in the melee. While this was not seen as a breach of the rules, by many others it was considered outside of the expectation that knight squires and commoners would be competing. And so that is what Count Cameron himself announced the next match. Baron Alexis Voidfrost ap Varich against Sir Christian Dubois ap Fiona. Both Baroness Anissa and her fellow Baron under the Count, Baron Quentin ap Fiona, began to place sizable bets, continuously escalating in amount until maxing out at 300 draws for each of their respective fighters. And for reference and further clarity, Baroness Anissa bet upon Baron Voidfrost, and Baron Quentin bet on his vassal, Sir Christian. And so the fight began, and in hindsight, the match was quite auspicious. Baron Voidfrost donned black armor, emblazoned with a golden sun, so notable that he was nicknamed Baron Worldstar by a spectator. That's, by the way, a reference to Worldstar Hip Hop. For those of you who don't know, go check it out. Very cool stuff. And Sir Christian wore a bright silver armor while mounted on a proud, prancing warhorse. Both combatants exchanged pleasantries before beginning the match. And right from the beginning, multiple cantrip effects were set off, too many to count unless one is of the House of the Crescent. The Baron's armor gained a stone-like quality, and Sir Christian became difficult to see, confusing in his every movement. They exchanged blows and holly strikes until the Baron employed Sovereign to force Sir Christian's submission. But Sir Christian bravely fought on, fighting through the ironclad commands given by the Baron. And the knight attacked and attacked until he drew blood from the Baron, first blood, which was a surprise to us all. And at this point, Sir Christian was exhausted. And even though he wore a helmet, I could see him slouch, and his movements became slower and more sluggish. Slower and slower, more sluggish and more sluggish. And despite this, he still fought on. You could see the fight in him. The Baron, knowing he had little choice, enacted his coup de grace, a powerful and magnificent unleashing of the art of Sovereign. His demand to the Dreaming was that Sir Christian serves him as his only lord and master. What happened next was, I will be honest, I don't know. And the glamour flowed from one noble to another, and there was a thunderous roar, a lion's roar, echoing through the Dreaming. And as I asked onlookers, some said it was out of pain, others out of anger, and others said it was out of defiance. And then from the sky came down a lightning bolt, right between the two fearless combatants. The strike and the thunder were unbearable to most of the spectators, many of whom were blinded or deafened by the light, and some unfortunates both. As for myself, I fought through the light to capture as much detail as I could, even though I lost my hearing. And as the strike came down, the two who were at the epicenter were thrown into opposite directions, seemingly knocked unconscious. The Baron's vassals came to see to him, and Baron Quentin came to attended to his vassal Sir Christian. And in the confusion, the Count placed a halt on the melee, as the Dreaming had spoken and must be interpreted. And the crowd dispersed in awestruck silence. And so I sit in my car, typing this shortly after leaving to give you the play-by-play. I hope to speak with both the Baron and Sir Christian, hear their statements on the matter, but only time will tell if they would be receptive to such. Either way, you will hear about the outcome of this match somehow once it's announced. And so, this is Angela Nagy, signing off.
With a sigh, she whispers, "Well, isn't she an exuberant writer? I guess guide me to the counter and I'll buy you any drink you wish."
He guides her to a seat and helps her into it, and then snags the one beside it for himself. I'll tell you what, if you buy me a drink, I'll sing you a song. Looks up.
I'm not sure singing would be a good idea right now. Look at the other patrons. Everyone's quiet. I don't hear anyone else talking.
Well, I think the words of Angela Nagy were very powerful. And that was something impressive. Stories and songs will be written about it. I mean, when's the last time in memory that the dreaming is spoken so, well, I don't want to say clearly, because dreaming knows what it means, but spoken so forcefully and directly.
Maybe it just wanted the egos to stop clashing.
Angela, she's just been kind of looking at Rory very intently. She can't hear him very well, so she's got to kind of look at his lips and kind of see what he's saying. She knows that he read off of her paper about this, but she'll look over to Alexis and ask, "My lord, how do you feel about the events of the match?"
Alexis kind of looks up from the alcohol that he has been imbibing. You will see that he definitely has like a chimerical bandage, because basically from your guys' perspective, he's sitting there in an open shirt, so like the shirt is unbuttoned. But obviously from the Dreaming's perspective, they had to practically wrench him out of his armor because the armor was split asunder. And so the armor is kind of sitting in a chimerical heap over there. The proud and glorious House of Art's son was rended in two. And he will say, so you guys will see like the bloody chimerical bandages that are covering the huge gash across his chest. He will contemplate before he will knock back another shot.
I will throw out, for reference, because she can't actually hear this. She does have her phone out, so that way she can hear it tomorrow, or whenever her hearing comes back.
Oh, he will have been talking to her, so he'll write down what he has to say.
Okay.
Because that just makes life a little bit easier. So he'll scribble. You asked how does he feel?
Yes.
The phrase he'll use will be cheated.
She'll nod, in understanding.
He will then write that. How would he phrase this? He will write on the piece of paper, and it will say. He's got very loopy handwriting. He will say, ultimately, one way or the other, yes, perhaps some people will come to say the Dreaming spoke. However, what it did ultimately do was render the contest moot, and there was far too much that had been poured into it to be rendered moot. So I personally feel as though I did not do as I set out to do.
She nods in understanding again, and she'll ask as a follow-up. So then you would consider that at best a draw.
You will see you'll see the shot glass in his hand despite all the damage he's taking, he crushes the shot glass in his hand, and you will see real blood flow from the very real wound in his hand now. And he will say, you guys who can hear will hear him like basically swear vehemently several times in Russian before he will write blood, kind of real blood, not chimerical blood, dripping and dabbling on the page. He will write, I don't consider it a draw at all. I merely consider it to be that justice has been postponed.
She nods.
He looks at his hand and starts to pick the glass out of it.
Last question before I take off my official hat. And she'll point to her bright yellow beanie. In the aftermath of this, I will likely go to see Sir Christian myself. Do you have anything you would like to say to him through me?
He will say, he will write that our business is not yet complete.
She nods. And after that last question, she will say, now, my lord, I hope that you don't take offense to the gesture, but Angela will look over to the bartender and fucking order Alexis a shot.
You'll see a very slight hint of a smile, because obviously you can't hear, and he will say something. Once he'll kind of incline his head and say something, you can assume it's some kind of thank you. He will rip. Bear in mind, he's the suit that he was wearing. The suit that he was wearing was quite expensive looking. He'll rip a chunk off it, like in a long strip, and he'll tie it around his hand before he'll fasten it with his teeth. And then he'll say, or he'll write on a piece of paper, I have no idea what happened, so this should at least be somewhat interesting.
Unofficially, I have no fucking idea either. You know, officially, I have no fucking idea either.
He looks up from where he's drinking, and his eyes kind of clap on Rory and Slua. That is my, official stance. And he kind of quirks an eyebrow and he says, I didn't think that we served your kind here.
She'll tilt her ear towards the voice. Be like, and what kind would that be, sir?
Interesting. Actually, wait, question. Do you know it's a Canaan by looking at it?
Not necessarily. Sometimes yes, sometimes. Let me look up the rules, actually. I think it's like page 455 or something.
There's always a kenning check.
I'll just make it since, yeah.
I was going to say, however, with my hilarious dice penalties, no, there's not.
What dice penalties?
I'm on one health level, Tim.
God, that's got to suck for you.
I know, right?
Oh, C note. Anyone who still has vision would be able to see her jewelry is the colors of House Ali.
Allele.
A little. Keep correcting me. See what happens.
Mm.
I got 3 successes on kenning.
I'm trying to find the if there's a roll. It would make
Do
sense
I-
that anyways, I have no issue with people recognizing him as Kinane. So, like,
Worst case scenario, Austin. Do you mind saying, because we were both in the last scene and Angela has eidetic memory? Is it all right for me to just be like, oh, I remember seeing you there? So that way we don't try to shank Rory in the closet for breaking the right of ignorance or something?
Sure.
The shankening.
It would probably be easier for Angela to remember who everybody was with and how she saw him.
he also was just reading out a chimerical piece of parchment.
Yeah, this was also a thing.
So, presumably, he has some sort of ability to interact with the dream.
Yeah.
Presumably so. So he'll look up, in that case, he won't be as brusque, and he'll say, I see that you have a guitar on your back. I have a question. Do you actually know how to use thing?
I can play a little bit.
What is your name?
Rory. Pleasure to meet you.
Is pleasure to be met, I suppose. Is that the correct turn of phrase in English? I don't know.
Yep.
Well, now it's officially bedtime. Have fun, everybody.
No,
Bye, Austin.
Bye, Oscar.
I don't particularly care. So. Ugh, fuck. Fuck!
I thought you were both magnificent. Maybe I'll
Mhm.
write a song about it.
How was it magnificent when one is not victor?
Well, there's magnificent. Magnificence goes beyond that. I mean, was it epic? And yes, it was. The 300 weren't victorious, but they lived forever. The final sacrifices of many heroes. So you don't have to be victorious. I mean,
Are you
I just thought you
insinuating
were magnificent. That's all I'm saying.
that is fine? Fuck. He goes to light a cigarette, and you'll see the fact that his hand isn't working properly because he fucking lacerated the shit out of it with a glass. He is not having a good day. Fuck me, guys. You guys will see he puts the cigarette in his mouth, and another woman who also is wearing House of Arch colors just leans in and lights his cigarette. Thank you.
Would you like something stronger, my lord?
At this moment in time, I would like to not be in incredible amounts of pain.
This would help with that.
I enjoy not being in incredible amounts of pain.
Rory, lady, just pardon me for 1 minute. Rory goes up to the Baron and gives a bow, and he pulls a box out of his coat pocket, opens it, and pops out a joint for the Baron.
I will smoke later, but thank you.
My pleasure.
Rubbing her forehead, she whispers, Sir Rory, rum, please.
I'm not a sir. Never will be.
I assumed from where you were sitting earlier, you were of that status.
He shrugs. And it can even be, even though she can't see, it can be felt. Rum seems pretty good, though. Let's do rum today. Sure. Although I have to pour Cornelius something else. Yeah. Can I have a bowl, sir? He looks at the bartender. For a plate? Presumably, upon getting one, he takes out a flask and he puts the plate on the ground and pours something out of the flask onto it. No. I'm just Rory.
As soon as she gets her rum, and from Rory, I assume he hands it to her and helps her hold that. She'll just smile and she goes, "Well then, just Rory. I'm Lady Lynch."
Well then, Lady Lynch. Enchanted. Here's to your health and the health of the brave combatants. Cheers.
She'll look towards where she last heard Alexis's voice and goes, "Cheers to the combatants."
Sláinte. Sláinte. He waits for Cornelius to drink before he has a drink.
The dog will happily lap up whiskey. It's what he does. He drinks and he knows things.
Yes. It's true. That is what he does.
I know, OC, you told me this out of character, but I'm going to play on this a little in character. She's like, "So, who has the furry animal near my feet?"
Madam, if you refer to me as a furry animal again, I shall merely have to refer to you as the brain-dead nincompoop you in fact are.
Rory drinks.
You felt fluffy.
Congratulations, you have discerned the ability to determine things with your sense of touch. Perhaps later you'll be able to turn off your sense of speech.
She turns the cup over that side of the table to the floor.
Rory reaches. You may not want to do that, my lady. He is very proud.
It sounds as such.
And why shouldn't I be?
Because it's a sin.
Christian sin. He's older than that.
Most faiths determine not to be too prideful.
Really? Let me tell you about the time the doctor decided he needed a new earthing trench.
Rory just kind of like drinks quietly.
I am trying so hard not to crack up at Evan's voice for this dog.
I love the dog. It's my favorite character.
And it's because of him you have five dots of, what is it, James Joyce lore?
Yes.
That was so
It has never come up. One day it will.
No, it has come up once.
Did it?
Yes, you determined when Bloomsday was.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we figured out when Bloomsday was.
That's all you've gotten. Don't worry about it, but it's fine. You have 5 dots of James Joyce lore.
So Adam
Lady Lady Lynch, might I introduce you to Cornelius?
Yes.
It is a pleasure to meet you, Cornelius. out of habit, she's pulled out her book and she's like started to act like she was gonna write in it, and then was like, "Oh yeah," and like snapped it closed and felt back for her bag to put it back in.
Well then, how about a song? It's pretty tense in here.
Well, why not? I haven't heard any music in a while. My lord doesn't tend to play music a lot.
Well,
Ah, yes,
sadly-
that's because music is oftentimes inspired by great beauty, and you are not that, my dear.
She
Is
hisses
that-
towards his voice.
I can't actually hear it, but is that dog talking?
That dog would indeed be talking, yes.
Shouldn't they? Yeah. It'll be up to Evan, but I think from previous scenes there is a roll you can make to identify him, or at least what he
To
is.
identify Cornelius.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna try.
I'm gonna say, yeah, give me a perception kenning roll on Cornelius.
Actually, could I try while blind? I don't think so.
Kenning is more like a feeling.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Perception kenning.
Perception kenning.
Okay, that's 5 dice for me. Two successes for Bridget. Not bad while blind. And
I'll just wait.
wanting to be drunk.
I'll wait for Tim, and then I'll give you still a bit of info.
No, there's 2.
Yep. The dog definitely resonates with glamour. You can tell that he can not only perceive chimerical reality, but he himself, though not a chimera, is part of chimerical reality.
Ah, that's all Bridget says.
And you guys get 2 successes.
Yes.
He feels. How do I describe it? He resonates. Like you guys have met. Hang on. Would either of you in your time have met Galen or like really old changelings that have a more kind of primal feel to them?
Maybe. I'm not sure on my character for that.
Essentially, he feels like he has a very old kind of I am the roots kind of vibe.
Wow. Nice. Well, this is going to go well. So, song. Yes? Tense. But,
Yes,
Ooh.
please.
Call What You
Serenade.
Know. That's
Huh?
a great song. Let's.
What's a great song?
It's Call What You Know, and it's actually one of you turned me on to when you turned me on to Heather Dale. So I put the link there.
I blame myself.
That's because
But
Alexa
he's a cheery song.
turns everyone on.
And I got 10 successes, by the way.
Well, which song were you playing? Sorry,
Call What You Know. And,
I've never actually heard that song.
oh, it's
I think-
one of my favorites by her now.
I think he linked it in the side chat, didn't you?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, so Bridget's sort of just sitting at the table, listening to him play.
And sing.
And sing.
He has a very enchanting voice. Anyways, you get the idea.
I was actually checking to see if one of my arts would work on Cornelius, but I think he's considered a supernatural creature.
He is, in fact. Well, what
Yeah.
do you want to try and do to him?
Oh, it related to something with Autumn Court. Don't worry about it.
Is it suffice to say everyone's cheerier?
People are still probably. Yeah, I'm gonna say some more cheerful. Yeah, that's why. Give me a fucking second. Jesus.
Okay, sorry.
I think they're probably less tense in here. Like, a lot of the other changelings have started to kind of cheer up. Because there's definitely an air of, how to describe it, everyone's a little bit on edge. Because no one's, like, I mean, Tim, I think it's a fair statement. Everyone is on edge. Because no one actually knows what the fuck happened. And that kind of puts a real, kind of weird dampener on things.
It's either like quiet contemplation or hype, if you were to ask me.
Yeah.
Because like that shit's wild.
But Alexis kind of looks up from his drink when you're done playing, and he'll nod his head and he'll say, "You're a decent bard. I'll give you that."
Thank you, my lord.
He's welcome.
So, Rory, how much do I have to pay you tomorrow after my duel to write a ballad of my victory?
On a side note, if you call him sir again, I'll have your tongue removed.
Oh, see, it's a habit of hers. It's a personality.
Yeah, but I'm still pointing out that if you give him the wrong title again, the Baron has said he'll have your tongue ripped out.
Yeah. It's just.
Do I actually know that's the Baron sitting with us?
He's actually sitting a little bit away from you, but yes.
Okay.
He has a distinctive Russian accent. Rory's like, it's just Rory. I'm happy to write you a song.
But only if I win.
If you win, I will write you a song. In fact, as long as you... If you win, I'll write you a song. He kind of bites his tongue out. That's what he was going to say before.
He just kind of looks over at Angela and he writes down, oh sweet dreaming, because that's essentially going to be like, oh sweet Jesus. I swear to God, if these two could flirt any more awkwardly, I should just go back and hang myself.
You know what? Angela's gonna ride that train. Oh no, this is gonna get bad. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Angela will look over, snap over, and say, "Oh damn, she didn't hear any of that shit. She's just gonna watch. She can only watch. She'll come up with something just based on body language."
Rory just, just trying to awkwardly cheer things up.
So, what did you do in your young days?
Oh, I hung around with a motley and some other young fae, and we went on many adventures and met dragons. We did quests for the Duke, as he then was, and I mean, you don't. It's too many stories to tell now. In between that, I went to school and stuff, I suppose. But played some sports, painted a little bit. I did a lot of things. But Hey, do you know a good joke?
Not any appropriate for polite society.
Oh, yes, polite society. Different joke then. Different joke. Let's see. Thanks. Think. Well, I know. There was. Two men go to see a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist says to them, "So, what seems to be the problem, gentlemen?" One man points to the other and says to the psychiatrist, "My brother here, he thinks he's a chicken." Chicken? That's pretty serious. And in fact, the other guy is, scratching the floor with his feet and flapping his elbows and clucking like a chicken. How long has this been going on? About a year and a half. A year and a half? A year and a half? Well, why didn't you bring him to see me sooner? Well, we needed the eggs.
That was, well, appropriate, I guess, for the setting, but not very humorous.
This is what we call in the motherland one that flopped.
For what it's worth, I didn't even hear it.
Oh.
You know what? Rexy goes to the trouble of writing down the entire joke to prove the fact it's not funny.
I disagree. It's a classic.
You know what? Angela's gonna fucking die of laughter. She's just gonna lose her shit right there.
Judging by the laughter a beautiful woman found it humorous, you should buy her a drink, Rory.
Okay, that's a great idea. What'd you have? He's pretty good at communicating with broad gestures. He taps his chest, gives a broad smile, and it's pretty infectious. Like there is just a larger than life personality just radiates off this guy, and he makes a broad gesture towards the drinks.
Angela says, "Sure."
He puts his arms out as if like asking a question and indicates which one again.
She's just gonna kind of shake her head and she's gonna pull out her phone, pull out her notes app, type something in there, show Rory it's her phone number, and just
he texts her his name.
text back, Angela, good to meet you. I remember you from earlier.
He smiles and nods. And I remember you too. It was brilliant writing, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I don't suppose information of it earlier.
Oh, I actually didn't catch that. Like Tim didn't catch that.
No worries.
Oh.
All right. Well, let me picture.
Selfie? Selfie.
Cool. If any of you actually have reason to know this, Rory actually does have Fame 3, although it's a kind of an odd fame, so it's not necessarily but he's a bit of a folk hero. Like there's just he fits the description of a kind of a fellow who fits in some odd stories throughout Ireland and Scotland and Manx and Wales and Cornwall and Brittany.
Okay. Okay.
Like, just like random stuff happens around him. You know, he helps people out of burning buildings. He starts a bar fight in you know, some stuffy country pub, and then a big that everyone makes up after, and a big concert breaks out. It's just like odd things.
So basically, we would know the gossip of like he's the lord of partying and such.
Sort of.
No. Like folk hero shit. So like he did shit like folk hero shit.
Like on my end, before it roboted, mostly I heard like concerts break out when he's around.
Oh no! Like he pulls people out of there's just like random little stories about him because he's distinctive looking. You know, it's a very tall, handsome, brightly red-haired guy wearing a kilt with a big dog following him around.
Does kind of stick out.
Yeah.
You hear it sticks out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a. Oh wow. That was exciting today, though, and they both fought so bravely, like it was mastery of arts. I hope the melee goes on, though. It was really exciting.
It should.
That raises an interesting point. In theory, today's match did end in the Raw. That will mean that another one will have to be scheduled.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Which means we'll all be betting again.
Actually, that's something we should have probably clarified, but Anthony, I assume that all bets were refunded after that.
I think they're going to declare. I presume they're going to declare a winner. Because it'd be kind of crazy not to. Like, they have to interpret the will of the dreaming, I guess. But yeah, that's...
And while they interpret that, they'll decide on a winner, and they'll give our two mighty combatants a chance to rest from their injuries.
Yeah. Well... it needs to be so that the other, you know... Yeah, they either need to let them fight again or declare a winner and let the winner participate in the rest of the competition. This is one of the most exciting things I've ever seen.
Then I have a question for you, Mr. Rory. That is your name, though?
Yeah.
Who would you say was winner?
Oh, I don't want to get myself into too much trouble. But
You've already said what you think. Now you have to back up statement.
He smiles. Well, I suppose, depending how you look at it, I mean, I'm in awe of your command of the art of sovereign, sir. I mean, my lord, it was magnificent. But you know, it's hard to say because on the other hand, I've never seen the dreaming comment so directly. Although I don't know what it means. I mean, you know, of course, the good count has to interpret it. You know, maybe they even ask the Crystal Circle, like, you were both so magnificent. I don't know. If there was a way you both could win. To be honest, at the beginning I thought you had it for sure. I don't know where Sir Christian found that strength. And after some of those hits that he landed on you, I don't know, how you so masterfully maintained that control, that art. It was beautiful. It was like,
a waltz.
Well, a waltz, the steps. This was a different kind of dance, and it was epic. There was a true sense of magic about it.
It was very inspiring.
The true sense of magic. An interesting turn of phrase.
I don't really know how else to put it. It's I imagine that's how
you put it exactly right. A true sense of magic.
Yeah.
I like it.
He smiles. It's that first fight was the poodle fought very bravely, but that was over so quickly. It didn't have the weight of ages behind it, if you know what I mean. In the Black Knight versus the Silver Knight, the first of many battles. The sides cheering for the respective champions, waiting with bated breath, and you could hear, I could feel around me the gasps of the crowd, the hunger, the fear, the relief, the pride, the hope. It was all there. An epic beginning.
Angela, you should be able to hear this. This is truly whimsical Brothers Grimm style bullshit. He'll write that down on a piece of paper.
Shit. Damn it.
He'll write it down for her. But his handwriting is kind of a scrawl. It's legible, but
She'll read it over. Definitely a contrast to how things were in the lower parts. It's fucking loud. Really loud. Lots of shouting.
even where I was, there was lots of shouting too. I've never seen some of the nobles act that way.
Oh.
At this point, Bridget's hand is making its way across the table, trying to find another drink for herself.
Yeah, Rory signaled. He actually didn't get a pitcher. He pours. He gestures for another glass and pours one for her.
Thank you. And have I mentioned today how much I'm hating this effect?
But you'll think of how much more you'll appreciate it tomorrow when you have your sight back.
She smiles. Her eyebrow is twitching.
You know, I was without arms for a while, or without an arm. That was a couple years ago.
I was
You know-
deaf for a while. That sucked.
Yeah. You were dead? He
Deaf.
Oh,
Deaf.
deaf. Oh. I thought I thought you said dead. I wanted to hear that story. Can you hear now a little bit? He speaks very loudly.
She just kind of stares and she shrugs.
I know a trick that might be able to help. Well, actually, maybe not. So, let's. So, well, tell me about yourselves. And he looks at Angela and tell me a story. Doesn't need to be true.
Oh. Have I told you about my good friend Gravedigger and the time we went to Albany?
No. Please go on.
Hang on. Whoa. I actually have to step in here. Tim,
Yeah?
has Angela met Gravedigger? Because I thought that this was a different Angela.
Right, it is. Damn it.
Unless you want to make it so it's the same Gravedigger or it's the same Angela, because that would be fucking funny.
She's not all that different, fuck it.
Okay, yeah, go on. Tell the tale.
So me and my friend Gravedigger, we went to Albany, right? And it was really cool because it's fucking Albany, and there's all kinds of sites up in Albany, and like New York things, because it's Albany. And then that's when the drug dealer showed up, and things got kicked into 12th gear. So I fucking used my flash on my camera to stun the drug dealers while Grave Dealer shot all of them, and then we drove away in a Veyron Bugatti that we fell asleep in, and then we woke up in it because we woke up in a new Bugatti. And then we were surrounded by cops. And then I told them that it was our car and that there was nothing to worry about. And then they didn't check the registration because I was that charming.
Can I just raise hand and say, what kind of fucking edgelord calls himself Gravedigger?
He owns a club. Pretty awesome.
Wait. You didn't tell me this is real person?
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Learn something new every day.
This is
Oh,
what
he's
people
a
do.
scary guy. He's epic.
Fuck me. Okay. There you go. You'll learn something new. I tell you what, though, guys, it's coming to be 4 o'clock in the morning here, so I'm probably going to go to bed, and I have the button.
Oh.
Huh.
Can
All
we
right.
continue on?
So I'm going to say thank you players for playing, thank you for watching. This has been another Scene in Darkness in Dublin, but Evan's about to be, fall unconscious. So have a good one, y'all.